Hello, welcome to AD's coaching. Now, we all know that during the current times, the entire world is working from home within the four walls in confinement of their houses. Now, there are two ways to look at it: to do what we regularly do and not learn any new skill, or try to make the best of our passion by doing what the world is doing online. This webinar is about conducting meetings, courses, webinars, and basically everything that the world is doing online. The important aspect today, because we have already moved online, we need to ask ourselves one important thing: am I ready? So, my question to you is: are you ready for going online? We have traditionally seen many things that have been done online. For example, we order food online, there is e learning, there is e coaching, we have been used to e banking, and of course, e shopping. But there are certain things during this particular situation which has come out which were not traditionally done. For example, working from home is the new norm. Education or schooling from home is yet another thing that is now being done online. There are sites which are now e dating, and of course, groceries, which you always used to go and shop personally, can be now ordered online. The emergency services like medicines, again, which you relied upon going to the pharmacy personally, are now being ordered online unless they are um, really of emergency nature. And finally, the meetings and webinars. As a part of working from home, you would have noticed that it is regular now to have these meetings and conduct webinars or attend webinars from the confinement of your four walls. Now, in order to do this, I have been conducting webinars for quite some time now. My name is Avinash Deshpande, and I love to give presentations. And there are a few things that I can show you to make your online presentations better. Instead of spending more time about me, you can find me at www.avinashdeshpande.com and get more information about me, my NLP coaching, and how can presentations have the impact from NLP by going on my website. Now, to move ahead, there are multiple free applications that are available to be used online. What I'm going to do by the end of this webinar is to share 100 and more free applications offered by the topmost companies in the world, right from Adobe to Zoom. Basically, it covers the A to Z of all the free applications that are available during this challenging period, which are offered temporarily or permanently by these topmost companies. All of this covered in one single link. When you complete the webinar, you would be able to access that link. It is really important that meetings are planned by heart long before the eyes see each other. And the same applies for online meetings as well. Why don't you take this opportunity to make the most of your passion online? So, if you love producing music, why don't you start having online music classes? If you like singing, why don't you take singing classes? If you would like to explore a new skill, find out where you can learn that skill. And if you are already having a skill which is your passion, why don't you start training other people online? This presentation will help you do all the same within moments. There are two things that make an online meeting or a webinar successful. The most important aspect of an online meeting has to be a smooth audio and the video tools that you use to capture your screen or the tools that you use to communicate with each other. The second important aspect is to have engaging content. So, if you are passionate about something, you need to have engaging content which people would be more interested in. For example, in these times, having everything online or knowing about it is a very, very interesting concept for people to be interested in. So, that engages people. Your audience will listen to you or read the content. It won't do both. Hence, be very careful about what you include as a part of your content. Again, a very special link that you could receive in your email once you finish this webinar. The third important aspect of any meeting or a webinar is to be concise. You bring the attention of your audience over a key concept using icons or illustrations. Your slides have to be of minimalistic nature and shouldn't be overcrowded with words and sentences. Also, you shouldn't be reading out from the slides, rather, let the images explain themselves. And this is not rocket science, it could be done very, very easily. And the how to do it part can be received over your email when you get through this webinar. The fourth important aspect is to call on people. If you are in a meeting, or if you are conducting a course, or if you are in between a webinar, no more than 5 to 8 minutes should be gone without asking a question. Do engage your audience into your content. Make sure that they ask you a question and get clarification in between rather than waiting for the entire thing to be finished. If you have any questions, considering this is a recorded webinar, I would request you to post your questions or comments in the link below, and you should be receiving a response within 24 hours. The next important aspect of any presentation is to have some advanced reading and preparation done. So what do I mean by that? Is to have covered some facts. Using facts in your presentation, which can be helpful for people, will make your presentation a lot more interesting. Even if you are going into a meeting which is online, make sure you do some homework that you can present your audience with, which will be helpful in nature for these people. For example, did you know that usage of animation in slides reduces the retention of the content by 20 to 25%? So the point being, you need to reduce the amount of animation that you use in your slides. Use of examples. To begin with, for example, this is roughly how I allocate my time when I do webinars or presentations. Research takes most part of the time, which is around 40% of my time is spent on research. Organizing the material together takes 30% of my time. Designing the slides takes only 20%. And how you can do that is something that I can share along with the templates and tools for you to make it easier. Designing need not take a lot of time. I have seen many people who put 40 to 50% of their time in designing and leave the planning, the content part to less than 30 to 20%. Now that's not desirable. And most important aspect is to do rehearsals. Make sure that you rehearse your entire presentation at least 10% of the time. Experience. Share your own experience. That is what will make your content very personal to you. When you share your own experience, it does reflect your personality into your presentations. Now, to share my experience, when I started with my first webinar or presentation, this was around 20 years back. It was a horrifying experience. I was not knowing what is it that I will present, how will I present, how should I start, what are the tools that are available. And of course, technology was not that advanced 20 years back. So, with all these challenges, even then we would have fantastic presentations done. But now there is a lot of technology freely available to make your presentations most engaging with your audience. Just a fun fact is that recently I asked my mom, again, who is confined to the four walls, to start doing video logs for making food. And she was interested in that. She has started that as well. Want to have some important PowerPoint presentation tips? You may receive this in your email, provided you can send me a mail on the information that I will share at the end of this webinar, and that will be sent to you. The next important aspect is to use pictures or images in your presentations. We all have heard this saying wherein a picture is worth 1,000 words. A complex idea can be conveyed with just a single image, and it also helps people to absorb a lot more amount of data than what you would put as text. For example, which is relevant to this particular webinar, is to look at free online tools for preparing workshops and meetings. Now, I could have done this slide entirely different by putting the entire text, which says, well, you could use Zoom for video, you could use Skype for video, and so on for each of them. However, what I chose to do was to have a cloud with all the different tools that are available for doing every aspect of your presentation. So whether it is project management, whether it is online whiteboards, whether there are planning sessions, storage, surveys, whatever you need to do, there is a tool available for you, and there are many free tools that are available for which the link, as I said, can be shared with you. So if if an image is worth 1,000 words, a graphic is worth 1,000,000 words. And this particular graphics exactly explains that. If there is an important message that needs to be conveyed, make sure you use an engaging graphic which is very colorful and at the same time provides the information that your slides need to give. What I have also done here is associated the most important slide, the most important message that I would like to convey in this case, which is to flatten the curve, to stay inside, Make sure that you do not um, go out, stay safe, stay healthy. I have associated my own personal brand with this particular image. What it does is that the most important message is then associated with your brand. In this case, it's AD's coaching. And then I have also included the links. For example, my Facebook page, which is NLP Masterminds Doha, and my FB page, which is AD's Coaching. So if you go on Facebook, you would be able to like my FB page and also get into my NLP Masterminds Doha Facebook group. This will help create that brand association with the most important message that you are trying to convey. Next thing is to interrupt your own flow. It is important that during the entire course of presentation, you interrupt your own flow with stories. Stories are very, very effective mediums of conveying the message directly into the subconscious of your audience. And the most important aspects of storytelling would be the use of words. The words that you use can significantly impact how the message is being perceived by your audience. And I could go on with the use of words because that's what I train using neuro linguistic programming. The next aspect of your storytelling should be the trust factor. So share your own experiences, which builds trust. It's okay to make mistakes. You do not have to be perfect because mistakes will show that you are human and your audience will relate more with, with your mistakes. Third part is to have the memory and the experience, right? Include those in your storytelling, and these are the elements that will make your storytelling become very impactful. If you would like to have a bigger impact, use this particular process to view around your entire presentation. So you start with what is the problem and why. Next, you talk about what has been done about it. The next thing that you cover is what you as a person have been doing or has done to solve this problem. The next element is to use what is the additional value that you bring into this approach. So for example, in this particular webinar, you could always go online and try to search for how do I conduct a webinar or what is the best way of presentation. However, the value that I bring onto this particular webinar is that I have collected 100 plus tools which are freely available and that can be shared with you. And I also bring the additional value that I will be sharing this particular template of presentation which can be used by you immediately after this webinar. So this is the additional value that me as a presenter gives you. And finally, where do you go from here? What is to be done next? What's the call for action? That is the important aspect of your presentation. It's just like a Bollywood movie where you start with the introduction and then there is a protagonist, which is the hero. You start inciting the incident, you raise the bar of action, you reach a climax, and finally they lived happily ever after. That's the resolution. Shorten your sessions. So if you are doing or if you were doing in-person sessions, make sure that you allocate half the time for doing it online. The reason behind it is that you do not have face-to-face interaction with your audience. So you are not in a position to know through their body language whether what is the level of their engagement. And hence it is recommended that you cut down the content and compress your content by half. Leave people hungry for more. If you cover everything in one particular presentation, what happens is that it becomes too long and boring. Secondly, it does not meet the expectation because there is no call for action as you have presented everything together in one long session. So the retention of your content becomes very, very minimal. And most importantly, which is the fourth most important part that you need to know, is something that I will cover when you send me an email. So that leaves you hungry for more. There is a humongous potential if you are able to communicate your value in the correct manner through your presentation. As we all know that today social media is the biggest advertising platform for your own capabilities, skills, and to portray your personality. With Facebook having 2.7 million users, you can always have the biggest platform. And I believe most of you who are now listening to this webinar are on Facebook. Are you utilizing these social media platforms to the maximum? Are you monetizing it? Are you using it for showing people what you are passionate about? If not, now is the time. And it's very easy to do so by following these tips that I have covered in my webinar. Next is to avoid technical jargons. The more simple, the more beautiful the presentation would be. You do not have to portray your expertise in technicalities because it would not convey the message to the audience. You are not the hero of the presentation, it is your audience who is the hero of the presentation. So make the presentation for them and not for you by making it technical. Make it very interesting because there is a screen in between. How to make it interesting is something that we could cover in another webinar. But just to make sure that whatever content you are providing has to be of interest for your audience. And the most important aspect is to enjoy for total success. If you enjoy what you do or what you present, your audience is definitely bound to enjoy your presentation. And now for the next steps. The next steps are easy. What you need to do now is to shoot a test video online using the tools from the link that I will be sharing with you. It could be as short as a 5-minute video, but you have to do it from scratch using the tips from this particular presentation. And then you can send it to me on my email, which is coachingwithad@gmail.com. What happens next is that you would receive feedback and tips from including this particular template and the images and all the free online resources that can make your presentation successful. Half of you will receive a email feedback. One third of you will receive a free book on neuro-linguistic programming, and a select few will receive one-on-one coaching on how to be a smart online presenter. So the select few of the videos that I would receive would have a one-on-one call. Of course, it would be an online call, and we would discuss how can you become a more professional, a more smarter online presenter. If you have any questions, feel free to address it on any of these platforms. I am available on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and WhatsApp. You can also join my Facebook group, which is NLP Masterminds Doha, and like my Facebook page, which is AD's Coaching, for a lot more information on NLP skills. Special thanks to all the people who made this particular release with giving resources for free. The presentation template by Slides Carnival, photographs by Unsplash, and illustrations by Undraw. All these links would be available along with this presentation for you. All these illustrations, which are available completely free and without any attribution, can be accessed by emailing me on coachingwithad@gmail.com, or you can visit avinashdeshpande.com and send me a message. All the icons can also be received for your presentations, and these are some of the emojis that you will receive along with this particular template for presentation. All the free templates for your presentation needs can be contacted by sending an email on coachingwithad@gmail.com. I am available for providing you with the feedback provided you are ready for your next online presentation to be successful. Thank you, and do visit AD's coaching. Have a great day. Bye.